Well, for more on the Murdaugh trial, we are joined by Bernarda Villalona, a criminal defense attorney. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start with a video that prosecutors say includes Alex's voice minutes before the murders. Two witnesses testified that they're 100% positive that it was Alex's voice in the background. What do you think exactly that the jury is thinking after hearing this?
This is crucial evidence. This is a bombshell evidence to the defense of Alex Murdaugh, because Alex Murdaugh, since the beginning, since June 7th of 2021, has always said that he was never at the dog kennel. He was trying to keep as far as away of the dog kennel from when the homicide took place as possible. And here you have the one piece of evidence that, guess what? Alex Murdaugh had no idea existed, and it completely destroys his alibi defense. So this is crucial for the prosecution in the sense that it goes to show the guilt of Alex Murdaugh. And I don't think that the defense is going to be able to overcome this piece of evidence. In fact, the defense attorney didn't even cross-examine about Alex Murdaugh's voice in that Snapchat video.
It really casts a lot of doubt in Alex Murdaugh's alibi. But what exactly do you make of the defense team and how they responded to that video after it was presented?
Well, the defense team didn't cross-examine as to the voice of Alex Murdaugh. It's as if it didn't even come out. They completely ignored it. Instead, they started examining about the timing of the video, but they did not cross-examine whether that was Alex Murdaugh's voice or not his voice.
Yeah, the problem moving forward is it's really going to be steep for the defense team. What should be the game plan for the defense moving forward to kind of recover from this?
Well, what the defense is doing and what they've been doing from the very beginning is that little by little, they've been trying to plant seeds of doubt. They've been trying to plant seeds of doubt to the extent that they're like, was it one shooter? Or was it two shooters? Or also the sloppiness of the investigation, the sloppiness of the handling of the crime scene itself. And also remember, there was another piece of evidence that the defense was able to also poke holes in it in terms of what was it that Alex Murdaugh said. I did him so bad, or they did him so bad. So these little seeds of doubt, that's the focus of the defense, because in the end, they have no burden. They don't have to prove anything. But if they can plant seeds of doubt in the mind of one juror or all of the jurors, they can possibly hang this jury or cause an acquittal in this case.
Well, what do you think about, and this really hasn't been discussed that much, is the murder weapons? What was used during that time? Do you think Alex Murdaugh, those were his guns?
Well, the reality is that it's already been scientifically proven. Well, actually, it hasn't been presented to the jury completely yet. But a ballistics expert is going to testify that the 300 shell casings were from a blackout firearm. And that blackout firearm, there were already on the property other 300 shell casings, and they've been able to match it that it came from the same firearm. So what we know for sure is that Maggie Murdaugh was killed by a 300 blackout firearm or rifle, and that it had to have belonged and did belong to one of the Murdaugh family members, because Alex Murdaugh had purchased 3 blackout firearms in the past, but only one was accounted for. And it just so happens that the one with the matching shell casings is the one that is missing, and there's no explanation for it.
So many questions. So my last question is, the judge is expected to make a ruling today about whether Alex's alleged financial crimes can be admitted in the court. How do you expect the judge to rule?
Well, this is going to be a huge game changer, because remember, for the prosecution, the motive for the crime has to deal with the financial issues that Alex Murdaugh was undergoing, that he was about to blow up because everything was being exposed. And that's why he had to take the action he did in taking out Paul Murdaugh as well as his wife, Maggie Murdaugh. Right now, I'm not sure how Judge Newman's going to rule, because this is going to be a game changer. What I am concerned is that if he does allow that evidence in, Remember, the prosecution didn't deal with it because they couldn't deal with it in the opening statement. So how is it that the jury is going to process that information without much guidance? We did hear at least one piece of evidence of it in terms of the redirect examination yesterday, where the prosecutor did ask that witness, well, did you know that Alex Murdaugh was in debt, or there was a missing check of about $800,000? But let's see how broad, how much they can allow it.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.